the violence that we're seeing right now isn't indicative of more organized crime groups or more organized crime activity. It's the breaking through of the surface of the many groups that we have that have been operating for some time. In BC, unfortunately, we've got pretty much the whole range in terms of organized crime. We've had very sophisticated groups here, whether they go back 100 or 150 years to the triads that have been operating here for many years. Our location on the Pacific Rim makes us very vulnerable to that. Our location on the West Coast has made us an important shipping point from South America for many years, and more recently from Mexico and more recently from the U.S. I think that the most significant thing that we've seen happen here in terms of explaining what's happened with organized crime is the hydroponic marijuana industry over the last 15 years. And without discussing, the pros or cons of marijuana, what it did is it funded all kinds of other organized crime activities, but most importantly, it allowed what would have been relatively small-time crooks, small-time organized crime players to elevate themselves to a much higher level through access to large quantities of cocaine for relatively small quantities of marijuana. And so it's not that long ago that there was a handful of groups in Canada that virtually controlled the cocaine trade. Now it's literally hundreds and hundreds of different organizations that are quite heavily involved in cocaine.
Hundreds?
Hundreds and hundreds. We have 900 major criminal organizations in the country that we're tracking, about 900. It fluctuates obviously from time to time. And many of those, probably as much as 3/4 of those, would be involved in cocaine trafficking. Of our 130 so in this province, more than 100 of them would be.
But what explains this spate or the spike in violence? I mean, right now, what explains it?
It's, I don't know. I mean, you heard someone, one of the folks from CFSEU a couple weeks ago talking about the drug war in Mexico.
Yeah.
That's plausible. Other possibilities are any time that when you're having success against organized crime groups and you dislodge people, that you create tension in the group and people jockeying for position and violence. But it all comes down to control of the drug trade, and the dynamics of that change from time to time. And when groups are working well together, there's less violence.
So are the sophisticated ones are pretty much good at working together versus some of the amateur operations?
Usually when you're seeing high levels of violence openly, it's less sophisticated groups. The more sophisticated groups tend to be more discreet. And
they seem like young guys, right? These are all pretty young guys.
Yeah, they are. I mean, this is pretty much classic what you see. Classic in the sense that it's young guys kind of breaking into the business. Not classic in the sense that our gangs here aren't like U.S. street gangs, which are usually relative, and Toronto for that matter, relatively kind of at the lower end of the socioeconomic scale, and whereas here our gang members are relatively better off. So it's different in that sense. I think that we're making steady progress against them. We've made a number of fairly significant arrests over the last couple of months. You're going to see more arrests in the coming weeks, significant arrests. I'm not going to. I wouldn't sit here and tell you that's going to be the end of the gang problem in any way. It took us a long time to get into this mess.
We know that and this is not just our RCMP jurisdiction, DPD as well, that when there are gang homicides, many of these guys don't seem to be caught ever, and many of them it takes a very long time.
We'll be catching some. You'll be seeing some
Is
people.
there going to be your significant arrest?
You'll be seeing, well, I'm not saying when, but you'll be, our goal is to bring people to court and charge them for the most serious offenses that they do. I like the approach that Vancouver's taking as well for charging wherever they can put together evidence for charges. But I think that murder is the most serious crime in our society, and we need to charge people when they commit it, and it has the added value of hopefully keeping them from reoffending for 20 or 30 years.
Yeah, but I'm just saying our record thus far, last
Right.
few years, has not been very good.
Oh, I agree. No, absolutely. They're very tough to. They're among the most difficult crimes to solve. Witnesses get killed. Offenders get killed. People are afraid to testify, and they're very difficult to solve.